Buenos días, le de Dios to each and every one of you. I don't know, I'm caught up in a lot of emotion right now. I had a chaplain give me a blessing as I came in, and he made me cry, so we need to get mad at him because I'm crying since I walked in here. And I think it's because it's a very emotional time right now. And just sitting and listening to the, all of us have been here, right? All of us have come to the cemetery to say goodbye to people we love. And my brother, Steve Ledger, would come and play the taps on his horn for my dad, for my tios, for my tia, for sus amigos, for so many people. And listening to those taps again made me, I lost him a few months ago, and it made me think about how we've lost so much, but we hold on to those memories, right? We hold on to those memories, and then when we hear the sound of the taps or the sound of a song, or when we taste some food that we've eaten, when we've shared, when we talk about a story that we've heard, we remember, and we cry and are also happy because we remember how much we loved and how much love we have in our lives. And it is indeed these stories of love that we have in our lives that bring us together today. Because now we are celebrating not just the story of our individual life or individual familia, we are celebrating today the story of a nation, the story of how we have all contributed to what the greatness of this nation is, and how we are celebrating the men and the women who believed in the concept and the ideals of what democracy is, and who were willing to go to battle, and who joined us today for the battles that they have been in, that you have been in, with the scars that those battles left you with, but you went because you believed in that ideal. You believed in something bigger than yourselves, bigger than any of our own familia, our own community, our own state of New Mexico. We believe in something that is so beautiful that we have been pulled together for almost 250 years. Imagine that. And that which we believe in is so amazing that sometimes we need to say it again and over again, because we are a nation that does not descend from a king or a queen. We are not a nation that does not descend from a kingdom. We are a nation that descends from an idea. Imagine that, an idea that we are all created equal, and that we have the capacity, and indeed we did. We brought forth, the United States brought forth democracy back onto this continent in a way that there were other forms of democracy, but we brought it on, that we organized around a principle and around a constitution. And we said this constitution is what binds us. It binds us together. We are not bound together by a kingdom. We are not bound together by a king. We are bound together by this constitution. And that constitution tells us everything we need to know about what our duties are in its opening act, right? Its very first act. It gets it all in one paragraph. How many novels or stories or, stories in the newspaper do we read? And you have to read a lot. This one gets it in its first opening paragraph, its first sentence. That we, the people of the United States, in order to form a more perfect union, that recognizes the fact that we're going to always be striving to be better. We're going to always strive to be better. And we are not going to accept when we get pushed backward, because we will push forward again. That it will always be a work in progress. But that we are forming this more perfect union, that at its heart a government must establish justice. Justice. What a beautiful word. Because it says that we will all be treated equally, and that when needed, we can go into a court, we can go in and say we must have our rights protected. And we must recognize the concepts of due process. That in order to ensure domestic tranquility, that we should be safe. And we should be able to pursue that happiness that is also mentioned in our founding documents. And to promote both the common defense and the general welfare. The general welfare, which means we must take care of each other. We must make sure that we do not have hunger among us, that our children do not go hungry in schools, and that our elderly are taken care of, and that we have health care for everybody that needs it, and that we are looking after each other, just like our Constitution says, but just like so many of those proverbs say. Take care of thy brother. When you have 2 tunics, give 1 away. When I was hungry, you gave me to eat. That those ideals that are indeed in many of our religions and many of our faiths are also in our Constitution. And when we honor our democracy, we are honoring a commitment to each other to take care of each other, to make sure we are not hungry, we are fed, we are educated. It's an amazing thing, this Constitution and this government that we created. And the reality is that when we started, we kind of didn't get all of that right? All men are created equal. But we worked on it. We fought a civil war and erased slavery. We made sure that women got the right to vote, thank heaven, and then they ran for Congress, and here I am before you, that Native Americans got the right to vote. That we fought fascism in World War II. That we fought against the racism that prevented Latinos, Hispanos, Black Americans, so many others to actually realize their ability to vote. And we fought the civil rights movement. And there's so many battles that we still have to fight. You know, my father served in that war that fought against fascism. He and so many of his brothers, I think there were 4 brothers who fought in that war. And they all came home. And they're buried here. One's buried in Tucumcari. He wanted to go be closer to the ranch. But I think about him as we struggle with the struggles that we are having today, because he's the one who inspired me to come and serve and to serve the people. And I always say that service is an act of love, and every single one of you that served in our military and that serve in our police and that serve as elected officers, you are performing an act of love. But we know it's not easy. And I wonder what he would think as he looks back at the moment we are in today. Because we need to acknowledge that the freedom of the press, the freedom of gathering, because we need to be able to protest if we want to, peacefully. The freedom of religion. All of these freedoms, the integrity of the courts, the importance of education, the separation of powers so that Congress does its job, the courts do theirs, and the presidency does its. That all of these are elements of the ideals. And when we commemorate and consecrate, because we are here today, the same way that those gathered in Gettysburg, we are here to commemorate and consecrate every single person who is represented by every single one of these headstones, the sacrifices that they made for this ideal. That we must remember that there are key things about our democracy. And one is that it is not a spectator sport. It requires each of us to be active and engaged. And it requires us to recognize that we are bound to each other and with each other for this bigger ideal. And at its core, it has community, comunidad, unity, unidad. And that when I look out at us and that we have come together today to consecrate and commemorate those who have sacrificed for us and for these ideals, that we have community. I am looking out at the ideals of democracy right now when I look out at you. And that we remain not pessimistic about this moment we are in, and not in despair about this moment we are in, but we remain radically optimistic about this moment we are in. Because each one of you, by coming out today, by pledging allegiance to the flag, by recognizing the ideals upon which we are founded, each one of you is recommitting to the power of the people and the importance of democracy. And however you choose to do it, whether it is helping out your community with your acequia, whether it is participating at the VFW, whether it is showing up at the food depot, whether it is making sure you all show up and vote, because that's what democracy is, but whatever it is that you do for the people around you, that is your affirmation, and that is the biggest prayer and gift that you give to those we consecrate and commemorate today. And I want to thank you for inviting me to participate and to shed a tear or two with you today in honor of this beautiful country and these beautiful men and women that we consecrate and commemorate today. Muchísimas gracias. Que Dios le bendiga. God bless you and God bless America.
Thank you for that, Congresswoman. That was amazing. Now, Cemetery Director